So let's start at the top. Audio component is different. Can we actually write to this file? Is there some way to open this file directly? Like open with Explorer or something? Can we go to? I just want to open with, fine, we'll open it with Notepad. And then from there we can open it in Explorer. So many frickin' windows. But basically what we want to do is we want to grab the differences. I added the ability to copy to left. The main thing that we added was the ability to play something dynamically with loop or not. So adjust attenuation, set Symmetrics. So like basically what you didn't used to be able to do, well, what you still can't is what it looks like. You're not able to play a sound and configure if it's looping except in the editor. You can't just like inside of your code actually say like we'll play this sound and loop it. You're just able to say like, oh well, you can totally play this. Let's see, they made it protected as opposed to private. Play internal. Alright, well, it doesn't look too bad. So the only difference is we have this loop on our stuff. Is that true? Is that all we need? Let's take a look between our diffs. Attenuation overrides. And we're double checking to make sure there's no loop stuff in here, because that's what we changed. I don't see anything. It's really just like with the plays and everything. Alright, so nothing too nuts. And of course it didn't remember our previous folder for us, which is annoying. Alright, so is there anything else here? No, that's fine. So we modified something inside of here, so where is it? It's engine-based types. What did we do with this? Alright, so we want to copy the left. Looks like we added another update tick, a pre-update tick. Because we wanted an update tick that kind of ran before things, I'm pretty sure, so that's what we did. We just went to the engine and said, no, I want another tick function. To hell with you. And that's what happened. And that was the pre-update tick as opposed to like pre-physics. So we could actually do like a pre-update and like a normal update and all that stuff. Pretty handy. Nothing else going on there. Let's see, the audio component CPP. We're gonna need to open this up and check it out. Because I already opened everything up. Opened everything for checkout, except for the things that were diffed, of course, because I've already merged in everything that just came over automatically. So loop is false, should be set to true. Override subtitle priority false. I don't know. Whatever, their default should be good. Is ready for owner to destroy. Alright, let's see. Spatial settings, get attenuation. That's fine. And yeah, we want our loops all set up nicely there, so we can encode, do what we want with looping. What is this? When we call stop, we used to run command on audio thread as opposed to just audio device. Looks like they simplified how they start and stop audio. And yeah, also change the attenuation settings and all that stuff. So let's see. Set volume multiplier. Yeah, it looks like they very much simplified how they're doing everything. That's cool. It's always good when the code gets smaller. It means most of the time everything's working real well. Or working better. That's one of the things at Amazon, one of the stories is like everything used to be written in C++ and it got so bad that they had to basically institute a rule where you had to remove something from the code base in order to add anything else to it. Just it didn't matter. The size of the code had to go down because it was just getting just that ridiculous. And so audio components merged in. So let's see, anything else? Yeah, we got active sound. So active sound changed. And yeah, we audio thread, we don't need this. Copy the left, copy the left. Should loop, yeah, we want our looping stuff in there. Audio component user ID. Right. Set send, get sound submit. Right. Just copy all that over. Well, I guess yeah, that's a good check there. Let's make sure our sounds aren't null and all that crap. So what is this? Playback time plus equals delta time? Data handle pausing and not getting out of mixer's time. Fading in is also dependent on delta time. I guess they had some other stuff in there. Okay, so we have both of these things, like if should loop parse params not looping should be set here, so what we'd want to do is do this and then add this in here. What is this? Update occlusion? Yeah, just do whatever they did. Yeah, we didn't change any of the occlusion stuff. It was just looping. Just looping. Was this attenuation shape stuff? Yeah, we don't need any of this. We didn't change any of you. So just those two things. Alright, active sound, you're good. Audio decompress. What? We didn't change this crap. Do I have this under my... This is engine, private, audio decompress. Well, what did we change here? I believe I had fixed a crash bug or something like that inside of this. Well, let's actually take a look. Let's make another... Let's make another instance of WinMerge here. This is source runtime engine. Source runtime engine. So we're going to compare to the original. How many lines do you think it took to make EC2? Well, they're writing it in Java now, I'm pretty sure, so it takes a lot. So we're inside a private and an audio decompress. And let's see, what the hell did I change here? I put in a null check for if the real-time first frame buffer does not equal null pointer, as opposed to like they just had like an assert check for this thing. I was just like, please don't crash on me, for the love of Christ. Alright, so that's what that was doing. So let's take a look. Like I was just like, if cache real-time frame buffer does not equal null pointer. So if we take all of their stuff, yeah, pretty much almost all the code that's running now in at Amazon is Java, at least for like all the services that they run and etc. etc. It's a lot easier to maintain a large Java project and all its dependencies at the scale they're doing than a C++ project. Like that's where Java actually works pretty well with its ridiculous dependencies and enterprise everything, is when you're when you're literally, you got like how many 100,000 engineers working the same crap. Sometimes you need all that extra ridiculousness in order to get it to do what you want. So it looks like they still have like this basic check in here, but they changed like if platform, Android, and all this stuff. So like if we copy all this stuff over, I had this like wave cached real-time frame buffer, this right here. Just like that. Yeah, I don't know if they'd be able to do anything. Like if they were still using C++, then I think they'd be in a lot of trouble. The other thing is it's a lot easier to get a whole bunch of engineers to write Java code than it is C++ code in kind of the same place. It's a lot easier, it's a lot more forgiving, right? Like, this is audio device. So we need to figure out what diffs that we actually had against this. So like I would also argue that it is much easier to get a lot of Java engineers hired than it is let's just all write JavaScript, fuck it. That's like AWS Lambda and all that stuff is like, that's what a lot of it's moving to. This is audio device. And so what did we change with the audio device? We added active sound should loop is false in here. We also added this looping thing to our function. So we want to basically do all these things. Well, when you get to Amazon size and everything else, it becomes much less important writing perfect code and much more important that everything continues to work and that you're able to maintain it. So you kind of switch from a mode of like we're building a service and all this stuff to we are maintaining a service. And Amazon has, when you have a profitable thing going on, you're much more concerned with making sure it continues operating. And if somebody has to literally stand there and kick it every 5 minutes, sometimes it makes more sense to just hire somebody to kick it every 5 minutes than it makes to make the machine perfect. Sometimes it just costs less to do that. So at that point, on those points, it's usually not a matter of like who's right and who's wrong. It's usually like it just doesn't matter. The language doesn't matter. It's just like which one's more reliable. We're running with that one. We don't care if it's slower. We have the money to run whatever the hell we want to, so we will. Though I think for a lot of those services, I would definitely write Java stuff as opposed to C++. But I wouldn't write JavaScript stuff, because at least with Java you do have the compiler there to tell you if something's absolutely insane. But man, that Java stuff is made for people to go slow with coding. Like, their dependency trees are just absolutely insane. And they really changed this. Like, it's like, okay, you want to get like a simple web server running? You better use like this whole massive program to set up all your stuff for you, or you will never get it done. And then you have to include just, oh, the call stacks are insane for something. You know, like if you ever seen like a Java enterprise level call stack for like, this is like where we actually handle the web request, and like here's where we have the database. There's like, you know, 70 freaking functions deep before it ever does anything useful. Which is why when I was at Amazon, we wrote our own servers pretty much from scratch. And, well, not from scratch, but we didn't do a bunch of insanity stuff. We just made it all work properly. So I'm looking for the duration, infinite, indefinitely looping sound difference. Throw in some no-op loops, yeah. Why not? Like, I guess, like my first day at Amazon when I got there, you go into this developer boot camp, and it's really funny. There's like a whole indoctrination thing too. They really pump you up. They're like, you guys have been hired to Amazon. You're the best engineers in the world. And of course, when I was hired to Amazon, I had been in the industry for a while, so you know that sort of propaganda talk doesn't work on me anymore. Because you know everybody like right out of college, you know they don't. They'll get pumped up by stuff like that, and people who have been around the block will be like, "Oh yeah, we're the best engineers in the world. I'm sure. Yeah, go us. We're so smart. Let's pump up our egos." But we went to boot camp, and the first thing that happened was the company-wide build system was down. Nobody could make or deploy anything. And so like halfway through our orientation and stuff like that, so we need should loop is false should be set right here at the end of it. So we'll take all of this stuff, and it looks like we want to, when we take everything, and set this should loop as to false, and save that. Excellent. Yeah, the company-wide build system was down. It's just like everything was screwed up, and yeah, it's just like after this whole speech of like we're the best engineers ever and all this crap, all of a sudden, you know, nobody even get through fucking orientation. I'm like, yeah, we're the best engineers around, sitting with our sitting on our hands with our thumbs up our asses. This is this is great. So the next thing is we're calling the create component method is the next diff that we need to really pay attention to. But it's a big difference going from like, you know, games where we are, you know, just focused on shipping and all this sort of stuff, and you know, everything is all about getting the game done and a lot of passion with we're making something new and then going into like, more enterprise development. And if you're not doing, and going from, it's much more important for the company to continue functioning, not hurt brand name, things like that, than anything else. Versus like, someplace like EA or something where they're like, it doesn't matter if you hurt the brand name is there to protect you from things and help you out. You need to make good games. Focus on that first. So we need to, it looks like the only differences are loop setting there. So we're actually going to not change this method. Same with this one, is what it looks like. And we do need to take this attenuation settings. And I think that's, yeah, pretty much everything here. So loop, we should take that. Auto destroy should be that. And also one of the good things about going to a company like Amazon is you learn a lot about security, and not only physical security, but also writing code and systems that actually really have to deal with the realities of cyber attacks and keeping stuff there, because if something in Amazon gets compromised, that's a huge loss of trust that's never gonna be repaired, because you deal with all the customer credit card information. Amazon knows everything about you. Hell, even the government uses Amazon. So can't screw that up. Alright, so that audio stuff is done. So it looks like everything inside of private's finished. So we should be active sound and active audio device. Yeah, it was cool working with like the AppSec guys and all that stuff at Amazon. They were pretty awesome dudes. All right, so we need to go into the public folder and see exactly what we changed there. So active sound, looks like we added the should loop, and that's it. I think it's one of those things, like Amazon is the only company that has not actually had a breach of its systems that was, as far as I'm aware, like there's a reason for that. They definitely take that security seriously, and you can get in a lot of trouble if you don't play by their rules. And they have like mandatory security checks. They have systems that automatically audit your code. And other places just don't have that. I mean, it's not like they don't have their own dirty laundry in terms of stuff that's not set up properly, but one of the big things in security is mitigation, such that it's pretty much impossible to always have everything perfect. It's about, if things do go wrong, you know exactly AppSec, functional security. No, it's AppSec, like application security, and InfoSec, information security. And one of the big things is you absolutely have to have mitigation strategies for things that go wrong. And auditing. So you have to have plans to fix things when things are messed up, and you also have to have information as to what is messed up. So, for some events, you will not know if what actually was exposed to customers or to hackers or whatever. And the big thing about Amazon is you absolutely have to at least get that. It's absolutely unacceptable to not know what was stolen, if anything gets stolen, etc. So we just redundant logging on absolutely everything, automated auditing. So even if you had like a server that was complete trash, we'd always know exactly what happened to it, and there's just no way around it. So lots of defense in depth. So we need audio device. All right, let's scroll down the list here. Audio devices here. We just changed the constructor of create component to add loop, and yeah, so we just need to take everything except that. And it's not training that you get at other places. Like, security is expensive and difficult to do. So a lot of people just don't. Alright, so create component. This is where we have, and that works. Alright, good. Yeah, it's pretty funny working in the Amazon. Might be fun to try to breach Lambda. Well, I don't think you'll be able to do it. They definitely got stuff locked down. I would not recommend it. They will know everything. They will find you. They have people. And then they'll take away your Amazon account, and you'll never be able to watch Amazon Instant Video again. They know how to really hit people where it hurts. It's like working with the games department. Like, nobody in games has any sort of security training. So it was great. I basically would go to AppSec and I'd be like, can you guys just remove our entire department from the corporate network? Like, please? Because none of these guys know how to do anything secure. Because I was trying to, we were trying to write our systems securely. And I just go and be like, because, you'd have like a conversation with your manager or something, and you'd do something like, hey, we can't have people logging in over HTTP. It has to be over SSL. And they're like, well, yeah, but that's going to take another couple weeks. And I was like, normally in games, sure, you might be able to get away with this, but this is Amazon, and we kind of have a lot of information that people need to keep secure. So, yeah, we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go talk to the security guys now. So this is source runtime online. Yeah, this is also something here that, like, we're talking about security. One of the issues with Unreal here is their curl implementation does not validate SSL certs out of the box. I've actually got a bug on this with Unreal that they are not fixing yet since like last year. So okay, so this is the this is runtime online, I believe. And when you don't validate SSL certs, that means that anybody can masquerade as your website. So my change here is, I believe down here. Yeah, basically they have a bug in their stuff here where it's like if the curl request options like cert bundle is null pointer, then it turns off SSL cert validation. And that's not what you want. You want SSL cert validation to be on because on Windows machines, your cert bundle can be null, and the operating system will use its built-in SSL certs. Like Microsoft has all that stuff patched in there for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And some knucklehead who I actually looked up on LinkedIn and was like, dude, what the fuck? Every single Unreal game that's running on Windows, starting on 4.14, does not validate SSL. So if you're doing like any logins on any of those, your shit is totally just on the network. And if somebody overrides your DNS, they've got all your stuff. And so overriding DNS, that'd be your corporate network, any corporate network. If you're using like some sort of proxy service, like you're in Australia trying to watch videos, they can point your stuff at whatever the hell they want and use forged SSL certs and boom, proxy everything. And it's not hard to do. Though of course for Dashkin, that's fixed because we know our cybersecurity a little bit better than the average bear. Yeah, GG, exactly. All right, so we got runtime renderer. So hopefully they fix that crap sometime soon because it's a one-line fix. And they also, the reason why they even had the issue was they hired some contractor. It was a contractor that had screwed it up for them. So it's usually one of those things where you'll get some contractor who just puts in some hastily written shit code and screws over your customer's SSL certs. Because they don't fix that and get it pushed out there. Like, big names are going to have stuff in there, and it's going to be a problem. So I need the Unreal release here. So we're doing runtime renderer. What did I change in the renderer? This is private scene capture rendering. Scene capture rendering. I changed it so, yeah, this show only primitives. I basically made the scene capture a little bit more efficient with how it's sorting everything. Because I felt like it. So we're going to keep taking everything here. Yeah, it's literally just on this line down here. So let's see, where is this specifically? So we're right only the show only. We're above show only actors. So we are right here. There we are. Basically bypassed a few things so that we could build the list of things that are scene capture renderers nicely. So scene capture rendering, and did we change the CPP or anything? So no, looks like renderer private was the only one. So then we have the web browser. Yeah, and I do remember I fixed some stuff in the web browser. Let's see what it was. I added Linux support. What the fuck was I thinking? Oh man, I changed a whole bunch of stuff in the web browser. Well, let's take a look. What's wrong with Linux? There's nobody using it, pretty much. Text files are identical for web browser build. Okay, well that's fine. No, they added Linux support, alright. So what is different here? Yeah, I added stuff in the web browser to actually make it useful. Like the web browser stuff that they had was like it would swallow all the clicks and do all sorts of crap like that. And they removed the private on. Okay, yeah, well that makes sense. You could tell this thing they're actually making it more useful here, aren't they? And we want to keep that. Cool. We'll take that. Lots of Linux virtual boxes. Yeah, there's lots of Linux, but it's not very much Linux for games. Like, went to Steam Dev Days this past October, and one of the things we were talking to people about was like, well, what's the Linux market like? And people are like, that's 3% of your customers. And it's like, oh, well, shit. Okay. It's not very many people, comparatively, so if you're going to get Linux support, you know, don't put shipping the game at risk for Linux support was pretty much the thing. Like, don't, 3% of people, it's not like your other markets. 3% is like, we kind of want to ship first before we do anything else that does or does not work. Alright, let's take a look at what I actually changed here. This is the web browser viewport. I added a viewport size vector, so I added that. I made it so that the viewport size actually worked properly. They removed allow scaling. What? Alright, so set viewport size was something I added, so you could actually specify how big you wanted the web window to be. The problem is it's DirectX. Maybe. The problem is people don't use Linux. Though there are some Uh-oh, WinMerge crashed. Well, let's go make sure our file actually got saved there. I think it was this guy. Yeah, it did not get saved. Let's see. I have web browser view. Is there any? This is just S web browser view. Did we change that at all? I guess not. Alright, well let's try this again. I don't see anything that... Well, one of the things is people on Linux do, as a percent, seem to buy things more often. So if you've got... Well, let me see what I have here for this. Web browser view and viewport. Alright, so... Web browser view, we added the viewport size. Okay, so... I'm just going to refresh things here. Web browser view. Where is the set viewport size? So this is the only thing that we actually care about right here. So if Linux becomes, a larger market, they're actually a pretty lucrative one because the people who are on Linux spend money. Which is always a good thing. Because if you have a demographic there that's small and motivated, it's like, alright, becomes much more of a target that you want to go for if you're trying to get a reason to ship on Linux. Well, there you go. Be like, well, they're not a bunch of freeloaders. They want the game and they want to pay for it too. Be like, well, okay, let's give them the game. I'm for it. So then we need the viewport. Alright, so viewport. And what did we change with this viewport? We changed the tick method to have the absolute size stuff. So we actually did the scaling properly for the window. So we shouldn't have to mess with any of that stuff. We added allow scaling. Or did we? We did not put in the allow scaling. That was already there, so they just took it out. That's what it looks like. Well, I mean, at the end of the day there, Steam is a company, and Steam is going to make decisions based on money. And if you can have a whole hell of a lot of... If you're going to be building pieces of hardware and selling them, if you don't have to license an operating system, that is a huge cost that you just saved. So I would not think it has anything to do with beneficence. It has everything to do with cash money. Alright, so web browser private CEF. Alright, so we also changed the CEF stuff in here. And CEF is Chromium Embedded Framework, and that's what we're using for our UI. I haven't shown off any of that stuff. So let's see what we changed. So this is CEF JS scripting. Looks like we changed the stuff at the bottom. We changed this so you can actually invoke a JavaScript method directly, as opposed to not being useful, which is what the rest of this damn thing was about. So I'll have to double check that the UI is not completely fucked. I don't imagine it is, but it could be. They haven't moved this thing out of experimental as far as I know. But, so we'll see. I'd like to keep up to date with it. And then JS scripting we changed as well. Scripting H. Alright, the scripting H file, we just added the invoke.js method as something you can call. So I mean, the other barrier to Linux is nobody uses Linux in game development. And that's a big problem, because if you want games to be released on Linux, you're going to need people to become familiar with Linux, and you're not only going to need game developers to start using Linux more often, but the tools that game developers use need to work on Linux as well. So like, you know, Harmony and Maya, 3ds Max, all of your development pipeline tools are going to need to work on Linux if you have any sort of expectation of game developers seriously using it. And web browser window.h. Because, you know, if you're somebody and you run a game company and you're making the decisions, are you going to buy computers, you know, 2 computers or multiple computers for your people? You know, which one are you going to do? How much money are you going to throw at your QA department? How many of your people are even going to be able to debug errors that have to do with Linux? You know, not a whole hell of a lot. So it's a big issue. The graphics artists can be on whatever they want. They can, sure, but it's still a knowledge gap there where you have certain people in the office who just can't deal with stuff. And in a lot of games, your QA department is also the game team, where, you know, you boot up the game and you play it, and a lot of the bugs are not found by the QA guys. They're found by just people playing the game in the office. So you're losing out on people discovering issues. So we got the web browser view sorted. But yeah, theoretically, you could have them and ship it off like that. Yeah, that's not wrong. I just think that it's just it's a smaller issue, but it's an issue I believe exists. Alright, so web browser's done. Now we just need to fix the XML parser. We added support in the XML parser for arbitrary deserialization. So instead of, like, you could actually pass in a U class and it'll just deserialize stuff to that U class. So you don't actually have to, like read all your U properties and do all that cool stuff. Which is pretty handy, like instead of like hand parsing all the crap out of an XML file, for us, we've just got our own stuff. So I'm going to just double check what exactly we've got with that. So it looks like we changed the build. No, we didn't change the build. With a unified rendering engine. Well, it most definitely will be nice. I should start at the top. Okay, XML file CPP, that's where we are. So let's see what we changed. We actually added quite a bit to this file. Looks like I added the file manager and yeah, these things. I added these. Alright, this load. This looks wrong. This is fast XML. Ah. Okay. Keep opening the wrong damn things. Alright, it's just XML file. Yeah, I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about Vulkan and all that. So I guess I can have an uninformed opinion on it. I know nothing about it though. This looks like we added these two things entirely. Oh yeah, we also added support for pretty XML. As opposed to like normal XML, we can actually save stuff out into XML that doesn't look like crap. This is the pretty stuff right here.